with Element.com. Ready to break free? Make your dream vacation a reality with Norwegian Cruise Line and sail to the Caribbean, Europe, and more. With our leading health and safety program, you can cruise with the ultimate freedom and confidence. Book today and enjoy 30% off all cruises, free open bar, and much more. Visit NCL.com, call your travel advisor, or 1-888-NCL-CRUISE. Offer and experience Norwegian Cruise Line. Sail safe, feel free. This registered to Amazon USA. Restrictions apply. The KFI Financial Report brought to you by Day Alarm. Dow Jones down 166. S&P 500 down 41. Nasdaq down 108. On the average price of the gas in California is $4.39.
With a range of commercial fire and security solutions, Day Alarm can protect it all with just one call.
Dropline weather from KFI. Overcast today in the morning and sunny highs mid-60s, around 70 at the beaches, 80 for Metro LA, mid-70s to mid-80s for the valley, upper 70s to low 80s in inland OC, low to upper 80s in the IE. Pretty much the same thing for Sunday. Right now, 68 in Seal Beach, 75 in Costa Mesa, 77 in North Hollywood, and 65 in Santa Monica. We lead local live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. I'm Deborah Martin.
John and Ken Show, John Cobell and Ken Shampoo, KFI and 640 Live, everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. All right, 5 o'clock hour to Friday, so in about 15 minutes, you'll hear round one of our Moist Line callers for the week. I don't hear these calls in advance and not put together by John or myself, but I gotta believe there's some reaction to the recall, maybe? We don't know. We don't know. It could be people reading recipes. We don't know. Well, that would be scintillating. Yeah, it would be. But speaking of the recall, from time to time we check in with Joel Cutkin. He's on our show many times at many books, chronicling California. The latest is his take on the PC recall vote, which was overwhelmingly to keep Gavin Newsom as governor, much to the sadness of us and a number of our listeners. He's got a book called The Coming of Neo-Feudalism, a warning to the global middle class. Presidential fellow at Chapman University. That sounds like a promotion, doesn't it? I mean, we used to have on he's just a fellow. Now he's a presidential fellow. Joel, how are you?
All right, how are you?
Did you get some kind of promotion? You're a presidential fellow? Or?
No, I was always a presidential fellow. Just no, I'm hardly. It's hardly a promotion.
It takes about 20 minutes to introduce you now. You're so revered. All right, so going into this, early mid-August, looks like it was 50-50 the recall could happen. Larry Elder hadn't really popped yet, just got into the race. Before Larry Elder, did you think this thing had a chance, or was that just noise from the polls?
I never thought it had much of a chance. Just the demographics are too difficult. And the reality is we are a one-party state, and, you know, the power of the power is really so concentrated now, and there's so much of a financial advantage. And let's face it, the Republicans don't have a ground game, and they have no corporate money. So it's extremely difficult for anyone to go. So I think what happened was the recall wasn't on the public agenda. Nobody was paying attention, or just the pro-recall people. Once the Democrats said, oh my God, we could actually lose this thing, they put a lot of resources in, whether it's in terms of, the grassroots operation, the media. I mean, the Republicans were outspent, 3-1, 4-1.
Let me ask you this. I agree with you, right? If you're a tiny minority party, you're a tiny minority party, and there's nothing you can do to win anything that's significant. Okay. However, you look around, and you write about this every day. You see this every day. You look at all the rampant homelessness, the rampant crime, the school systems are just awful, high taxation, businesses fleeing, this and that, the regulation. I mean, everything you write about all day. How come there aren't enough people to stop and say, this really
overthrow the party rule?
Yeah, I mean, let's look at other ideas here, other options. Because that's what I don't understand. Why do they keep lining up with the Democrats?
Okay, well, I think there are several things going on. One, the very things you're talking about are chasing away the very voters who might have felt this way. In other words, you're basically your middle-class family, maybe, you know, somebody who wants to buy a house but can't, somebody whose job has gone away. I mean, those people who've moved to other states, those were potential Republican or at least centrist voters, and they're gone. The other thing is, you know, when you have policies that are promoting deindustrialization, as California is doing, well, every year that you get rid of industry, there's not a lobby for it. So in other words, let's say 10 years ago, 15 years ago, there might have been lots of people in manufacturing and unions and others who would stand up against it. Every year, that becomes weaker and weaker. The other thing is that in the short run, at least, the tech oligarchs are making so much money, and there's so much IPO money, plus the money from Washington, that the state budget doesn't feel it. And as long as the state budget doesn't feel it, the public employee unions, who are, you know, part of that sort of the three parts that run California, the Greens, the public employees, and the oligarchs, they didn't feel any pain, so it didn't bother them. So, I mean, so some of it is also, and then the other thing that we're doing, and this is what I'm writing about on a big article now, and I'm very concerned about, is instead of thinking, we're not even thinking about how do we create jobs. Think about this, this $70 billion surplus, I don't see it going into creating jobs. I don't see it, you know, it's mostly transfer payments. So we're also building up this enormous welfare state. And you know, where things are going to really hit it is when the state coffers are weaker, the stock market weakens, the IPO market weakens, the Biden administration doesn't have as much money to hand out, and then you're going to start seeing some real conflicts over this. Because, you know, what we're doing is we're just increasing the amount of money that's going into you know, essentially transfers, and we're not focusing on what we should be focusing on. How do we get good middle class and high-paid blue-collar work in California? That is not the priority of this administration. And frankly, those very people may be the people who would have voted for the recall.
The white wealthy that seem to control the direction of the Democratic Party, do they just have it so good that all the crime and the homelessness and the bad schools, it's not part of their lives? It doesn't affect them too far away?
Yeah, it doesn't affect them very much. You know, if you live in Cupertino or you live in Irvine, you're going, you know, you still have good schools. It's still low crime. It doesn't look all that bad. If you're in Compton or in Fresno or in Bakersfield, it does look bad. Well, you know, I think this is a group of people who are very insulated. Plus, a lot of the basis of the Democratic Party, not just in California or nationwide, are people who don't have kids. That's a huge part of the Democratic Party. Actually, I think, and women who are maybe have kids but are not married, maybe they have one kid. You don't have the sort of families that might have said, oh no, we don't like this. And so fundamentally, we're sort of eroding the base that would be there for a sort of center-right resurgence. That's why.
Go ahead. No, I'm just saying, there's that many single women and women without husbands, or mothers without husbands. That's a big percentage of the Democratic Party to really make a difference.
Oh, nationwide. I think Stan Greenberg, who is Bill Clinton's pollster, said that unmarried women are the largest constituency of the Democratic Party today. So, you know, so fundamentally, you know, these are going to generally, not always, but not be homeowners. They also may be people who are very susceptible to this sort of, well, you know, we're doing what's right. We're doing, there's this sort of sense out there that people really want to be directed. I mean, you know, so fundamentally in the country, I think it's pretty evenly divided. In California, I think the recall probably told us what California is. That 60% are, you know, safety first, you know, welfare first, you know, climate change is the big issue. That's about 60% of the electorate. I don't know how we turn this around. I don't know. The only real hope, I think, is if Hispanics and millennials who did vote for the recall a little bit higher than other groups, they will help us get over this. The reality is, despite all the talk about white privilege, the one group that when you look at the polls who are happiest about where things are in California and in Southern California are the older people. Because you know what? A lot of them own homes that they bought 30 years ago that were worth 200,000 that are now $1 million. They feel rich. Prop 13 protects them from the property taxes. And they don't have to worry about the schools because if they had kids, the kids are already grown up.
All right, so there's no sense of caring about the whole community anymore.
I don't see a lot of that. The tech people in particular are not the most sensitive to human needs. Let's put it that way. I mean, they will make statements. But in the study of philanthropy, for instance, in Silicon Valley, they found that most of it didn't even go to San Jose or to the Silicon Valley area. These people do not have the same sense of investment in the state and that you might have seen in other industries. One very big factor in Silicon Valley, roughly 3/4 of the workforce is not American citizens. So, and a large part of that group is H-1B visas. People who are essentially indentured servants. So they don't really care.
Did you say 3/4?
Yes, up to 3/4.
Wow.
That's what they are. So, now some of them, there's a group that they're nothing wrong with being born in another country. I was, and as was my wife. There's nothing wrong with being born in another country. But, in the old days, people became citizens, and then they sort of integrated. I don't think that's happening in the same degree. And then the other problem is a lot of these tech companies, they're in the United States, but they're not of the United States. They see themselves as sort of big global players, and that to think just about your community or your country is sort of, that's like kind of a primitive mindset.
Right. Joel, it's always fascinating talking to you. Thank you for coming. Looking forward to the next book.
Yeah, well, I'm doing a book right now, putting a book together on the future of cities, so that should be pretty entertaining.
All right. Thank you for talking to us. John and Ken Show, KFI. Deborah Marquez News.
LA City Council President Mary Martinez says she will not be running for mayor in 2022. She says with all that's left to do to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic, the city needs stability and steady leadership, and her focus is on continuing as council president. The Angelos Valley Fair has been canceled. Organizers cite new public safety mandates and canceling the 8-day event that had been scheduled to start October 1st. Tropical storm Odette has formed off the East Coast. The storm is expected to stay in the Atlantic and weaken tomorrow as it moves north. We have trouble on the 22, and we will check in with the KFI in the sky next.
Want to sell your house or condo fast, easy? Call Seller's Advantage. They'll buy your home as is for cash.
Hey, with Seller's Advantage, there's not going to be any realtor fees or commissions, no escrow fees, no repairs needed. There won't be any of those dreadful open houses, no strangers walking through your home. They buy your house or condo for cash.
Damon and Doug from Seller's Advantage bought a house from one of our KFI listeners. Guy wanted to sell. He met with a couple of real estate agents, compared the numbers, chose Seller's Advantage.
So he ended up with the same money, the same bottom line. There were no repairs, no headaches, no open houses, and of course no hassles. And he says working with Seller's Advantage is the easiest real estate transaction he has ever completed.
If you're considering selling your home, you call Seller's Advantage, see how much your house is worth.
Do this. Call now for your free quote. Call 888-321-AS-IS. Call 888-321-AS-IS. That's 888-321-AS-IS.
BRE number 0196-1658, sellersadvantage.com.
We have a crash on the 22 in Orange.
It's going to be on the westbound side at the City Drive. Crash blocks the carpool lane. A motorcycle involved in this one. Traffic already loaded up from the Orange Crush, which of course is where the 22 meets the 5 and the 57. KFI in the Sky helps let's try that again. KFI in the Sky is sponsored by Injury Attorney, Superwoman, Superlawyer.com. Mike O'Brien looking at things to the east there.
Yeah, just over at Arcadia a few minutes ago. 210 eastbound at just about Huntington. Putting out of the left lane on that wreck. Bumper to bumper to downtown Pasadena, and up ahead some more slowing, certainly leaving Arcadia, on and off out to about Citrus. Now there's going to be a little gap, and then back on the brakes big time. Starting at about baseline, almost out of Laverne there from Fruit Street. That's going to be tough most of the way to the 15. Now, if you're heading north to the 15, up to the high desert there, that's going to load up Sierra up to the 138, and even southbound 15 out of the high desert, you can be slowing down to the top of the hill through the 138 as well. Injured in an accident? Visit superwoman.superlawyer.com. Mike O'Brien, KFI in the Sky.
KFI in the Sky helps get you there faster. I'm Will Kohlschreiber.
The Delta variant is making COVID-19 spread faster and more easily. Variants can be more contagious, aggressive, and deadly. But we know vaccines work. Vaccinated Californians have greater protection against serious illness, hospitalization, and death. We can help stop the spread and end this pandemic. Get vaccinated and wear a mask when it can protect you and others. Find a vaccine near you at myturn.ca.gov. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Spectrum Business called their competitors to see if any of them could beat Spectrum's Business Internet Plus phone offer for $69.98 per month with no added phone taxes or fees. Here are real quotes from the competition.
How are they pulling in no fees and taxes? That's madness.
I would 100% go with Spectrum.
Even the competition recommends Spectrum Business. Call 855-339-5344 and switch to Spectrum Business today.
Competitor quotes from actual phone conversations. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
Replacing your windows and doors doesn't have to be stressful. Instead, it can be transformational. Turning your home into a space that inspires you to live healthier, happier, more comfortably. Seamlessly blending indoors and out to help you feel connected to nature. Marking windows and doors can make the difference. They're thoughtfully designed for the way you live, with an inspiring range of options that let you create the look you want and lasting quality you can feel great about. When you work with a local independent Marvin dealer, you'll get straight advice about window and door replacement. Marvin specialists will help you plan your project and select the right products for your needs. They'll give you a detailed proposal so you know exactly what you're getting and make the whole process easier. If you're ready to transform how your home feels with windows and doors you feel great about, schedule your free consultation at replacementmadeeasy.com. That's replacementmadeeasy.com.
What really happened on January 6th? Was it a protest or something worse, even an insurrection? Joe Biden said it was the worst event since the Civil War. All this week, Chris Salcedo is on TV asking the tough questions and finding the real answers. So watch Salcedo's January 6th series on Newsmax every weekday.
More than 40 million Americans watch Newsmax, America's fastest growing cable news channel.
It's on every major cable system. Just check your cable guide. If your cable system doesn't carry Newsmax, call your operator or switch to a service that does.
Get Newsmax on most streaming services like Roku, Amazon Fire, Pluto, and more. It's even on smart TVs like Samsung and Vizio.
Or download the free Newsmax app on your smartphone. It just takes seconds.
Newsmax covers the big stories you need to know.
The media isn't telling you the whole story. That's why millions are turning to Newsmax. So watch Salcedo on Newsmax today.
Sneezing, coughing, runny nose, watery eyes. Are these the house guests that just won't leave? It could be your air ducts. Over time, dirt, dust, and other debris can turn them into a breeding ground for allergens. Trust Coit to eliminate what's ailing your air ducts. Coit's technicians are specially trained and certified with the best guarantee in the business. Clean as new. That's the Coit commitment to you. Schedule your Coit cleaning today and get 25% off. Call 1-800-FOR-COIT.
Hey, it's Gary and Shannon, and we know how much you love KFI. Whenever there's a radio, you have us on.
But what happens when there isn't a radio around?
What?
It's why we created the free iHeartRadio app.
If you have a phone and the iHeartRadio app, you have KFI and thousands of other radio stations from cities around the globe.
Along with podcasts, literally thousands of them, like, I don't know, the Gary and Shannon Show.
Only on iHeartRadio. #1 for music, radio, and podcasting all in one app.
Next on the Mo Kelly Show, we'll check in with the latest on the rally in Washington, D.C. for the January 6th incarcerated. Also, if you had Nicki Minaj, COVID, swollen balls, and a Twitter fight with the White House on your 2021 bingo card, you win a prize. And actress, producer, and now director Kim Fields stops by to share her new show, All the Queen's Men.
Mo Kelly, tomorrow night at 6. KFI AM 640.
More stimulating talk.
John and Ken Show. John Cobell, Ken Shampo, KFI AM 640 live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
Well, the bills that represent the war on single-family housing, Senate Bills 9 and 10, were signed.
by Gavin Newsom, one of the first things he did after he survived the recall. They'll take effect January 1st, 2022. We'll explain what they mean coming up after the news. But right now, let's drag out the moist line, people, and see what they got going to tell us this week at 1-877-MOIST-86.
Hey, this is John. And this is Ken. We're so excited to hear from you. It's about time.
I don't want to hear from Griffin Newsom. He won. He did win. I don't want to hear his talk. I want to hear people being interviewed and ask the question, why do they vote for him? Why do they trust what he was doing? Why do they think it's okay what he did and has been doing and hasn't been doing? Do they even know?
What happened yesterday is very disappointing. Californians deserve what they get. If they want to pay $1.50 more a gallon, they want to pay 45% more for homes and rent than nationwide. If they want to work two jobs and not be able to have any kind of family life, the middle class, just to survive, they deserve it. Today, would have just do anything. Can't run his own record. And he still won. Which I believe, when I knew it was going to be a mail-in ballot, we're like, oh, that's not good. So, Californians, you got what you deserve. Don't bitch anymore. You're getting what you deserve.
Well, apparently California is just not ready for a strong black leader. Go white privilege, Gavin Newsom, you piece of crap.
Yeah, well, the scumbags and the bums won. The bums get to do anything they want around here for another year. And scumbags don't have to pay their rents, and small businesses can die. Great time to be in Los Angeles, California. Great time.
I just wanted to let you know my daughter's perspective, who is an independent. She was in favor of the recall, but when the news said that Larry Elder would be the replacement, she didn't want Larry, so she did not vote. Where prior to that, she was going to vote yes to recall. So I just thought that was a different perspective for you.
Remember years ago when they said an earthquake was going to come and the coast of California was going to collapse into the ocean? Well, since the news is reporting it's mostly the coastal communities that supported Newsom, can we all pray to God that maybe it's time for that earthquake? Bring it on, God!
I know my legally blind friend voted in person. Later, when I went to my own city to cast my own vote, Larry Zelder's name was in a different spot on the page than the first ballot. On mine, it was near the bottom, and on my friend's, it was the fourth one down from the top. What's up with that? Why are the ballots formatted differently? I ask you.
It's become pretty clear after this recall loss that if you're a Republican politician in California, you really should just quit. I mean, you're impotent, you're irrelevant, you're basically an empty shell. You guys did nothing to make the party cohesive in California. I don't even know why there is a Republican Party in California.
It really
You only have to look at all the free $600 checks and free child care and free medical care, and you knew what these people were going to vote for. This guy Newsom is a real scum, and so are most of the Democrats. Like you said, John, we got a lot of babies in this state. The problem is we got a lot of babies in this country. Good luck to us.
Well, we didn't have a number on it before, but now we do. One thing we learned from the recall election is that over 60% of Californians are gullible AF.
Thank you for leaving your message.
Well, I think that last guy summed it up. The big sigh followed by an expletive.
What a sad, dejected group there.
You were expecting anything different?
No, I understand. I feel sad and dejected myself.
We'll see if there are more sad and dejected people when we get to Moist Line Round 2 in about 20 minutes.
We need some group therapy here.
Coming up next, yep, Newsom signed them.
For some war, baby.
The war on the single-family home. Senate Bills 9 and 10 will explain what's in them and what effect they may have coming up.
Have a drink. Or three. come back Monday and start fighting again. John and Ken, Deborah Marquez News.
Real estate heir Robert Durst has been found guilty of killing his longtime friend Susan Berman in L.A. in 2000. Durst deliberated for about 7 hours this week before announcing the decision this afternoon. Prosecutors say Durst shot Berman in her head because she knew he had killed his first wife in the 80s, and she was called in to talk to police about it. Investigators have crashed a sophisticated plot to use a drone to smuggle drugs into the Orange County Jail. Sergeant Ryan Anderson says investigators tracked down the pilot who used a fake name to get an apartment in Costa Mesa.
They were able to also find some narcotics, illegal firearms, fentanyl, and they were also able to locate a remote control that was related to the drone that was found.
He says a female inmate was caught using a jail phone to try to guide the drone to a safe landing. Both the pilot and the inmate have been charged with multiple felonies. California's top prosecutor has joined a coalition of 17 attorneys general fighting to let ex-cons vote in Minnesota. The law in Minnesota keeps former prisoners from voting until they complete their parole or probation. The attorneys general who oppose it say it's past time to do away with outdated disenfranchisement laws that have a disproportionate impact on communities of color. The LA Clippers have broken ground on the Intuit Dome Arena in Inglewood. Team owner Steve Ballmer says Inglewood is now the epicenter of sports.
With the Rams, the Chargers, now the Clippers. Oh.
The site near SoFi Stadium is expected to be completed in time for the 2024-25 NBA season. It will include an 18,000-seat basketball arena, a team practice center, and corporate offices for the Clippers. From the Southern California Toyota Dealers Traffic Center, we make it easy. We have a crash on the 405 in Hawthorne.
This one's on the 405 northbound at Rosecrans Avenue. Crash in the left lane. You're going to be stop and go from Crenshaw Boulevard. Also on the 405, just past Seal Beach, southbound at Seal Beach Boulevard. Crash just cleared. Still a little slow, though, from 7th Street. KFI in the sky. Sponsored by injury attorney Superwoman, Superlawyer.com. Michael Bryan looking at East LA.
Yeah, a tough drive on the 10 and the 60. Start with the 60. 60 eastbound, jamming up there just at the 710. From the 710, on and off the brakes, mostly on out to Paramount. It's going to loosen up just a bit around the 605. Looks like some more slowing up ahead through Rolling Heights into the 57. Not nearly as tough as that first stretch, though. 10 eastbound. Looks like a problem clearing right around the 605. That seems to be adding to slowing from City Terrace into West Covina. And up ahead, you got some more slowing from the Kellogg interchange, much of the way into Fontana and Rialto. Injured in an accident? Visit Superwoman, Superlawyer.com. Mike O'Brien, KFI in the sky.
And just a quick reminder, brush fire near Gorman on the 5 northbound at Vista Del Lago. Only 2 lanes open. Traffic backed up for about 10 miles. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Will Kohlschreiber.
Sweet James Accident Attorneys. If we got in trouble, yeah, that's who we'd call.
You mean hurt in an accident?
Hurt in an accident.
When you say in trouble, it sounds like you got arrested for either way.
Well, for that again. We want to share this story about a Sweet James client.
Yeah, for this client, it was a day like any other, and then, everything went upside down. He and his girlfriend were going out to get something to eat, and on their way, they were suddenly hit by a car, traveling at such a high speed, it caused the driver to lose control and hit a wall.
And his injuries were severe, and the driver who hit him was under the influence. Sweet James Accident Attorneys took on the case, and they recovered $2.7 million.
You know, insurance companies promise to be by your side in these situations, but they rarely are. The litigation team took the insurance company to trial and won. If you're ever hurt in an accident, call Sweet James.
They can't guarantee the outcome of any case, but you can be sure you're going to have a winning and caring law firm on your side.
Call for a free consultation. Here you go, 800-500-5200. That's 800-500-5200 and sweetjames.com.
Southland weather from KFI. Sunny tomorrow, highs mid-60s to around 70 at the beaches, 80 for Metro LA, mid-70s to mid-80s in the valleys, upper 70s to low 80s for Inland OC, low to upper 80s in the IE. We lead local, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. I'm Deborah Mark.
Most mortgage lenders charge a fee, sometimes up to 1.5 points for pulling cash out of your home's equity. Those points are on your whole loan balance, not just the cash you get. For example, if your loan amount is $400,000, that's a $6,000 fee. For a limited time, Owning will waive this fee so qualified borrowers can get a cash-out refi with absolutely no closing costs of any kind. Besides the usual no title, escrow, appraisal, etc., no fees for a cash-out on a 30-year fixed mortgage.
So if you're in process somewhere and paying fees, call 8332-OWNING or go to owning.com, where our rate in APR for a no cash out fee 30-year fixed mortgage is 2.75%. But hurry, the mortgage industry won't like this. So who knows when this special goes away? Call 8332-OWNING or go to owning.com.
NMLS 2611, licensed by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act. Subject to credit approval. Call 833-303-2160 for terms and conditions. Equal housing lender.
This week at Grocery Outlet, stop by for 7th generation 100% recycled bathroom tissue. 4-packs are just $1.99. Also, stock up on Mosaic antibacterial wipes. 50-count packages are buy one, get one free.
Hey, it's Dean Sharp. Have you still not gone solar? Let me help clear up some misconceptions. Solar doesn't cost you money. It saves you money. And it doesn't matter where your panels are made. It matters who makes them. And those $29.95 solar specials, they're not what's going to end up on your home. Sunlux left all of that behind to build a company that does solar better. Time for solar. It's time for Sunlux. Get started today at sunlux.com. That's sunlux.com. CSLB 1008374.
I'm attorney Darren Kavanoki from 1-800-NO-CUFFS. Can you do the alphabet backwards? Z, Y, X, W, V. Yeah, try doing that by the side of the road. So if you get pulled over, don't wing it. Call us at 1-800-NO-CUFFS.
Investors NRIA provides up to 18 to 21% returns on their Class A real estate portfolio. Go to nria.net for more.
KFI would like to thank the Radio and Television News Association for making KFI News the winningest news outlet in Southern California.
KFI AM 640.
More stimulating talk.
An iHeart radio station.
Johnny Ken Show, John Cobell and Ken Champo, KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeart Radio app.
Everywhere, and we are just about 15 minutes away from wrapping up the week with another round of the Voice Line People. If you missed it, the first round of Voice Line People, a little depressed over the recall outcome.
Bill Clinton once said, "We feel your pain here."
All right, after Gruesome became governor, one of the things he said was he wanted to see 3.5 million new housing units built by the year 2025 in California to help with the housing crunch. So the legislature took it upon themselves to chase after ideas. We've been covering this for years on the John and Ken Show. The first effort a few years back by State Senator Scott Wiener got shelved. So what they decided to do was to break up that large bill into little bills. 2 of them have been signed by Gavin Newsom. We talked about them this year quite a bit. Senate Bills 9 and 10. They will take effect on January 1st of 2022. Now, Senate Bill 9. It allows a property owner